Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by McDonald Muffler. The Muffler Mafia out of Mobile, Alabama. Family owned and operated, converters, shocks, and more. Get in touch with those guys in Mobile, Alabama. 251-661-1043. That is McDonald Muffler. The Muffler Mafia, they'll take care of you. And Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07, can'tquitfishing.com sportsman here locally at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, and 2021 sportsman champion. And Ted Baber Video Productions. Guys, it's always great to have you in the studio. What's happening?
It's always great to be here.
Oh, just another great weekend of short track racing we get to talk about, and talk about our boy putting it on him at the Rattler.
Yeah, we're gonna probably hold that one back a little bit. And I know it's got to being on a horse, it's got holding the reins, because that is one of the big ones. And we talked about 3 of the sweeps coming up that we're going to talk about this coming weekend. The Pensacola 200. We got the Arca Menard Series race. Local racing Friday night. We're going to be there with some friends coming over from Houma, Louisiana, and we look for a good weekend and some good conversation coming up here just in a little bit.
And probably some good cooking, too, if Jackie gets busy.
Yeah.
If Jackie makes some jambalaya or something, I know we're going to eat good, some crawfish, or make sure whatever that man cooks is delicious.
Yeah, he's the master. Jackie Clement, he is Houma, Louisiana. He is a master chef over there, and kind of semi-retired, but he does a lot of charity events and travels around. And Mark is his big friend. They come over and we've got their friend Neil Shearer. His brother's going to be in the ARCA race, depending on how it works out with the new car. So we're all going to be in the pits. Well, not in the pits actually, but we'll be together this weekend. Yeah.
I'll be in the pits because I'll be pitting that ARCA car, so that's going to be pretty cool. That's the first time I ever get to be on the NASCAR team, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah, have you gotten your duties yet?
No, I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is I'm showing up, I'm getting a new pair of shoes, and probably my pit pass paid for, so, that's going to be huge.
Going to be great fun, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that list for the 200 this coming weekend, which is, a staple outside of the Stars Tour that was here just a week prior. Right. It's going to be another back-to-back big event here locally in Pensacola. And I hear Luke Fenthouse is one of the later entries that's going to be here. And we all know him from running up there at Slinger in the SRX series, last year, and doing really well there. So it's good to have these guys come in here and run in the ARCA series, and even it being an East Series race, but it's still affiliated with the ARCA series, but that it's good exposure for all of them.
Yeah, Jake Finch is going to be from Panama City. He's going to be in there. He's going to be driving the number 20 car for Venturini. Yeah, well, he ran it last year. If you remember, he ran pretty good. He had a flat tire. I think it retired him from the night, but it was a good show.
Yeah. Well, we were there last year with the ARCA race.
Yeah.
They don't put up quite the speeds that we're used to, I guess, with supers and pros. Pros maybe competitively, I guess, the speeds, but the ARCA series is a little bit more controlled, but a lot more competitive.
Well, the cars weigh 3,400 pounds. They're tanks.
Yeah.
They're a tank with a Nilmore engine, so they basically all run the same engine. It's not this series like it used to be where you could build your own motor and stuff like that. Everybody runs the same engine, same type of body, and you put your stickers on for whatever manufacturer you want to run for, and that's how they get that done. So it's going to be interesting. It was a pretty good race last year. It was actually pretty close.
Yeah, before it was all over. It was great.
Yeah. So
there looks like there are 18 cars entered for that race, and we got the Modifieds of Mayhem too. That's going to be not quite the ground pounders like we've talked about, the big wide 15-inch tires. But these Modifieds of Mayhem are exactly. I think the title for that series is just like it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it should be. Modifieds of Mayhem.
You got all that motor and itty-bitty skinny tires. You better be careful on the loud pedal or you'll get in trouble quick.
Yeah, you definitely see them. They slow down a lot. I mean, their fall off on those cars is huge.
Yes,
but
it is.
It's usually a pretty good show. It usually comes down to the end, so that'll be pretty good. And then Friday night's the Crown Stocks?
Yep, the Crown Stocks, Pro Trucks, and Pure Stocks.
Pure Stocks, yeah.
Yep. And we're going to get into that, too, because I think you brought up a little bit more of a situation where we're going to get into the Crown Vic series and the qualifying for that Sportsman and Pure Stock group and single qualifying, which we're going to get into later after we cover the sweeps that are coming up that are like pretty big news.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The the Pensacola 200 coming up this weekend, the ARCA Menards East Series race with the likes of Luke Fenhouse, Jake Finch. They're, Johnny Van Dorn's affiliated with it, Ben Kennedy, Sammy Smith. You hear a lot of these names that coming out, William Sawalich. A lot of these guys are going to make their East Series debut or return. We just look for a big weekend.
It's going to be great. I can't wait to
It'll be a good
kick
show.
off.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Get to hang out with some good friends and watch some good racing.
Yep. Well, we got first of the three sweeps that we're going to cover. The Carter Langley. I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't think any of us really know. We haven't talked about Carter Langley at all. This was at South Boston Speedway in the Cars late model tour this past weekend. Twin 75s sweeps the weekend. There's one of three, and I can't imagine going a 75-lap race and sweeping both races. And it just gets better from here. But congratulations to Carter Langley at South Boston. That track is in Virginia. The next one is Cole Butcher, which is actually one of the three most impressive I've seen. The Easter Bunny 150 and the St. Patrick's Day 150 were combined because of weather. And Cole Butcher goes out and wins both of them in the same day, 150 laps.
Wow, over 300 laps.
That's impressive.
And then having to reset the car up and change things because the track changed because there's more rubber down.
Right.
And to build that. And Cole Butcher ran very well in the Stars race here. So, Cole Butcher's nobody to sneeze at. He's won some pretty big races. He's an up-and-comer.
Yeah. Yeah, a young guy. He's got a lot of talent, and we're going to be surely talking about him.
No doubt. Good
quite
definitely.
A bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Definitely.
And the other one this past weekend.
There's another one?
There's another one. This is one on top of that. In Opp, Alabama, at South Alabama Speedway, the Rattler, Baby Rattler was Saturday, 125, and then the 250 on Sunday.
Sunday. I was there. I actually went.
Yeah.
And
geez, was it some guy, somebody we've heard of before?
Yeah. Hollered, the GOAT.
Some guy from Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
drove the Jet Motorsports number 9 on Saturday, which was a last-minute deal they put together. He climbs in that car, runs second or third till about 70 to go, and then it was like, see you later. He smoked Michael Hind and all of them like a cheap cigar and won that one. Come out Sunday, started 15th, but the big story in that race was Ty Majeski.
Yes.
Didn't get there to qualify on time. So when he qualified, they had to take the slower of his 2 laps. He was the last car to go out. Sits on the pole with the slower, the slowest of his 2 laps. Put him on the pole.
He will be forever named the Timinator in my book.
Well, he's just, that sawed-off little joker can flat drive, dude. He's really good. He especially found something at Opp.
Yeah.
Well, he took a challenge. Somebody offered him $10,000 to go to the back, and if he could win, it was a $10,000 bonus.
That's a lot of cheese.
It is, and he drove through the field. Bubba started 15th, did the same thing, meticulously worked his way up. Under cautions, he'd pass. Bubba would pass on the outside. He was really good. And then come down late in the show, Ty's leading, Bubba's running second, and you could hear that theme from Jaws, because here he comes. I was watching him on race monitor. I'm sitting in the stands. It was cold. God, windy and cold. Great show, decent crowd. But watching him just kind of methodically work his way towards Ty, and Ty couldn't go anywhere. And Bubba was on his bumper, and they caught Van Meter.
Boris Jurkovic's new best friend.
Yeah, Boris Jurkovic's best buddy, and found of the dent in the fire extinguisher. Had to make an evasive move, Ty did, and Bubba got by him. And people say, oh, well, that's how Bubba got the lead. No, Bubba was coming. A 10th here, a couple of hundredths there. I was watching. He was faster than anybody on the racetrack. He ran Ty down. He was going to pass him, regardless of whether Van Meter got in the way or not. And then as the laps wound down, I'm counting them down on my hands, 10 to go. I'm running my fingers down, just, biting my nails off because I want to see my boy win. And he caught one lapped car, 24 car, black 24. He moved down, got out of the way. And then when he caught poor Augie, now Augie had a good run also. Augie was in the top 5 at one point and was right following Bubba through the field. And he got hung on the outside on a restart and never was able to recover from that. He faded, and he got lapped right there at the end, but he moved out of the way. He went up high and let Bubba on by.
Right.
And people saying, Bubba was running around telling lap cars, that's what your spotter's supposed to do.
Right.
Go and say, hey, we're leading. There's 5 laps to go. We're going to catch you. Could you please?
Yeah.
You're not going to gain anything by racing us. Please, would you just give us some room? Give us a little, just don't hold us up.
Right.
Yeah, as far as the jaws, done. I can hear Majeski's spotter up there saying you're going to need a faster car.
You're going to need a faster car. Yeah, not a bigger boat, but a faster car. Exactly. I mean, I can hear his spotter when he's coming. 2 back, 1 back. He's to your bumper. I mean, and it was just so good to see. After the weekend Bubba had in Pensacola with the same race car.
Right. Yeah.
They spent a week fixing it.
They rebuild it.
They had to fix all the damage from Pensacola. And for him to drive from 15th to the win. Now, like I said, taking nothing away from Ty Majeski, starting dead last and running second, 1 spot short of that $10,000 bonus.
Right.
And showing up in the second of your slowest of your 2 laps was the pole speed. Mm-hmm. I mean, Majeski, he's magic up there. He's got some Majeski magic in that little track up there. But man, Bubba Pollard was just a man. It was fun to watch. It was a great race. The racing was throughout the field was good. There was a lot of passing, a lot of beating and banging. I mean, the right side of Augie's car looked like it'd been through a meat grinder. I mean, there was tire marks and there was no lettering whatsoever on his tires. The rims were beat up. But, I mean, they were getting after it, and it ended up being a real good show. And a shout-out to Dustin Smith, who was running very well, but got hopped over the 24 car, wound up almost going in the river over off of turn 2. Man. That was crazy, dude. Yeah. I thought his throttle stuck until I saw the replay when he bounced off another car and he went up over and he was up on the dirt mound. Had he gone a little bit faster and over, he would have went down in that creek right there, and that would have really ruined his day. But I hate that for them. Those guys work really, really hard on their stuff, and they're considered one of our local guys.
Yeah, up there at off, those laps click off quick too, because it's a pretty small track.
So, yeah, well, originally they called it a half mile until somebody measured it and went, no, fellas, we're a little bit more than 3/8, but
4/10.
4/10 of a mile. Yeah, they said it was a half until somebody measured it and went, no, dude, it ain't a half mile. So
you got to get the track stretcher out there.
Yeah,
and you got to point out something else too. Majeski finished 11th the night before.
Yeah,
in Atlanta in the truck series.
Right.
And we've watched him. He's a snowball derby winner. He's from Wisconsin. He's an ARCA Midwest Tour driver. I mean, a hot shoe with all those guys up there. And he's a regular in the Craftsman Truck Series. And you gotta kind of imagine the grueling schedule that he goes through with trying to fit these races in his truck schedule. And to come from Atlanta, I think it was Friday night.
Yeah,
it was.
And then he comes down to the weekend and then does what he does and ends up leading the race starting from the back for the $10,000 bonus.
Yep.
And just gets beat.
Little shy.
That's just my hat's off to you, Ty Manader.
Ty Manader.
Well, Ty Majeski's he's a hell of a wheel man. Ain't taking nothing away from him, but Bubba Pollard just had him beat. He was just a better car at the end of the race. Because, like I said, Majeski was out there by over a straightaway. And I thought when Bubba got to second, he got around the 44 car. And I said, dang. But you know what? Early in the race, I said, if we get to the top 5, I'd be happy. And he got to a podium. And I was like, that's pretty good. And then he got to second. And then I'm like, let me get my race monitor out and start seeing how much fat. And I'm like, whoa, that was a 10th that lap. And then, because every time you come across start finish line, it automatically updates it. And I'm like,
Well, he won Saturday and Sunday in 2 different chassis.
Yep.
Right? With the Jet Motorsports Fury and then the Seneca in the 26 on Sunday.
Well, I know that Jeff Chiquette, I watched him in the Jet Motorsports cars, and he was always good there. Anybody that gets in any of those cars.
You got to remember that Ryan Luza won several races in that car.
Right.
I mean, that's a fast ride. Those guys work hard, and that's, Greg Janes and all that bunch.
Right.
Those guys work hard. It's a good team, and to put the faith to put Bubba Pollard in that car to run up there to Op and the Baby Rattler, and he won it. So I mean, hey, that's just, I mean, man. And like I said, Bubba needed that after that crappy weekend. You got to consider he won at Cordele, went down to South Florida, ran 2 races down there. One of them he was leading, and the fender brace come off. He finished 11th. The next one he finished second because Sawalich got him late in the show because he tightened up. And then Pensacola pretty much had that covered till he got wrecked, Casey Roderick. And, you consider the year he's having. I mean, this is a banner year. And if, he can keep this up, he might be pretty tough to beat because, there's another SRL late model race coming up in Mobile, Alabama, first of next month, I believe is when the next one is. And he won the last SRL late model race in Mobile. He beat Donnie Wilson. So It's looking good for our boy Bubba.
Yeah, I'm still voting that short track racing is alive and well.
It's still doing good.
Sure.
I mean, but speaking of that, I just recently saw an article where we lost 417
Right.
Sunshine State Speedway in South Florida because the airport authority owns it and they're not going to lease it. They originally were going to destroy it, and then they said no. Well, now they've knocked down the go-kart track, but the racetrack's still there, and they were going to make a venue out of it, like an entertainment venue, not a racetrack.
Right.
And then they said they were going to lease it. Now they're saying nothing. So we don't know what's going to happen to that place, and that's sad. That's another racetrack that's just going to sit idle, I guess. And then, of course, we lost Oxford Plains.
Yeah.
I mean, the health of short track racing is good, but it's
health of the tracks
it's
themselves
not
is
the
questionable.
track's fault because most of the time the land, just like what happened at California Super Speedway out there, the land was worth more than the racetrack and the races.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We're getting so populated, people need places to live, and that piece of property becomes more valuable as a homestead than it does a racetrack.
I mean, Five Flags getting squeezed too, and I just have concerns since, well, we won't go into the reasons, but, there are a whole lot of people moving to Florida for some reason.
Yeah.
And they're all looking for a place to
go,
stay too.
Well, here's the thing about that. Five Flags is the biggest sporting event in Northwest Florida. It brings millions into the economy in December.
Right.
The commissioners aren't going to mess with that until it quits making them money.
Yeah.
Until Five Flags Speedway stops making those millions of dollars, because even with the tax revenue they get from the houses, that track in one weekend makes more money than Escambia County probably takes in a year in some of the revenue. So it's still a big deal.
Well, I was reading an article years ago in our local newspaper. They were, whining and complaining about there wasn't a big sporting event in Pensacola. And on the next page in the sports section, there was a coverage of the Snowball Derby. I'm like, are you guys is the left hand talking to the right hand here? Do you not realize what kind of impact that race has on this area?
Oh, dude, the condo rentals, the hotels, the
RV
food,
rentals.
the RV rentals, all that stuff makes this area a bunch of money. And until it quits making people money, I think we need some more local races and get supported with us local guys to help us out too, because we could draw crowds if we would just do something special, but we don't.
If you've ever been here to fight the traffic on Derby weekend, oh my God, I wish I had a helicopter to come in sometimes.
Yeah,
Come in by parachute.
It's the biggest sporting event in Northwest Florida. I mean, even the FSU games, which is the next biggest thing, and then we got to go all the way to Jacksonville for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They still don't draw the amount of people that we draw to the Snowball Derby. So what does that tell you? Racing is still alive and well, but we got to get more local stuff going because we can't have a racetrack just with the Snowball Derby. It'll close.
What do you think about a Sportsman 100?
We ran them. We ran.
That'd be
100
nice, wouldn't it?
We ran 100 lappers years ago. I mean, the Snowball Derby for us used to be 100 laps when it was spectator. We ran.
Bring it back.
You can, and I would do it. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't get behind the wheel for 100 laps because I would. It'd be pretty cool. But
A pure stock 50 and a Sportsman 150. Or 100 on a week.
But you have to have
Weekend.
a lot of cars. You can't run a 100 lapper with 12 cars.
No.
I mean,
if the purse was there, the cars would probably show.
I'm just in charge of the ideas.
What you have to do at the Derby, especially, is when they bring Montgomery cars down. If you're too low, then add weight to them. If they got to weigh 3,500 pounds to be legal with a Camaro, then 3,500 pounds it is. Quit your crying and come race.
Yeah.
All you're doing is adding lead. You're not changing your car. You're putting lead on it. So, it would be a good deal. But like I said, it's up to the promoters, and the promoters are turning their back more and more on us local guys, and it's sad.
Well, 100, a 10,000 to win, Sportsman 100. You don't think you'd have 20 cars?
That was the number I was talking
about. But you're talking the main Derby doesn't pay but $25,000.
Right.
There's nobody going to put $10,000 for a street stock race down here.
Yeah, okay.
I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong.
No, I mean, even the special events that we have during the season here in Mobile, you're lucky if you can get a sponsor to come up with the kind of money that you need to draw the cars that you want.
Well, and the other thing is tires. Like Mobile, you got to run a different type of tire to go to Mobile. And that's one of the reasons why we don't race over there, because I'm not buying $750 worth of tires to go run one race to win $300 if I win it. It's just not worth it. And nothing against Gina. I know she's trying. She really is. She's putting in the effort, but it's hard to do. And I applaud her for trying.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would let me run Hoosiers over there against the American racers, why not? I'll buy 2 and go over there. But I can't afford their tires and then have to swap, because you have to change the setup a little bit because the tires are bigger, smaller, or whatever.
Definitely harder.
Yeah, they're harder. You got to change the springs. Those guys don't just run Pensacola and then just put the car on tires and come out there. They do make changes.
Yeah. Right. We'll have to get her back on here and kind of catch up. We've had her on here before as a guest, and it's time to circle back around and get her back on and see exactly what she's got going on in Mobile.
Yeah.
And get some of those answers and promote.
Right.
That's what we do. We talk short track racing, not just drivers, not just results, but we've talked to the people that are behind the scenes making all this happen. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of what we do, and that's all part of that short track racing situation that we've got going on in our small but large studio.
And growing.
And growing.
We're growing.
Correct. Yep. Which was the intention from the very beginning, and we appreciate all the support, and it is our motivation. That's why we keep doing it, not just because we love it, but because everybody else loves it around us. So,
we have fun too. That doesn't hurt at all.
No, not at all. Yeah. No.
And we talk about a blooper reel too. If I could just find a way to get it done, but we'd have I don't know how many episodes we'd have a blooper reel.
47,000.
If I could just get my thing straight at the beginning and turn it over to you guys, we'd be fine. But
that's all right.
It is what it is. We do have fun, and we talk short track racing. Yeah. We've got a couple of ideas that we were talking about before we went on about this new series that's coming up this Friday night with the Crown stocks.
Yeah.
Jim's been kind of hammering this for at least a year, I think, about the Crown Vic series.
Longer than that. I've been trying to get him to do that for a long time.
Right.
And
not saying it's because of you.
No, not at all. But I mean, well, the Stinger cars were actually because of me. It was my idea. But anyway, the thing I like about it, and what they should do, in my opinion, take the windshields out of them, let them run screen, and then run dirt and asphalt. Get with Southern, get with Tri-County, and say, okay, if you win Friday night at Five Flags, you go to Southern and you win, it's a $200 bonus.
Yeah.
Then the Southern gains a good class. Or Tri-County or somewhere around there gains a good class, and Five Flags gains a good class, and the racing is good, and you're going to have guys who are going to come from dirt and go, man, hell, I can go make $200 extra if I win both races. So It'll be interesting if they would do that, but I don't know. But this class is a good class. I mean, bone stock. I mean, I wouldn't even let you put camber in the right front. I'm talking about I want that wheel standing straight up. I want the stock front end settings.
Yeah.
And I would have a guy that would check it. That'd be part of my teardown. Okay, guys, pull it up here on the alignment. We're going to have a temporary alignment rack. We're going to set up. And if you're way off on your caster, you got that thing set up the way to turn left, guess what? You're out.
You're gone.
You're out. Yeah. I mean, I want what NASCAR's doing to the Cup Series. These things are the way they are. Do not touch them. Do not mess with them. Do not molest. Don't change. Do nothing. And if you do, you're going to get fined and parked.
Don't fold, spindle, or mutilate.
Yes.
They're going to be mutilated enough when they get done on the track.
Well, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, the old bomber class, when you could take an old 307 Oldsmobile motor and an old Cutlass smoking and banging and go out there and at least, run and have fun. Well, there's no more of those cars left. So the Crown Vics, the Grand Marquis, there's an abundance of those around.
Yep.
So you can have a class of those.
I know where there is one right now if it wasn't all rust.
Oh, yeah, you don't want a rusty one. You don't want stuff falling off of when you're going on a track. But what I mean is it's a good class for a beginner. Teaches you how to drive a race car, and they have them all over the country, and it's a great class, and I think it's going to grow and be big, and I hope it is.
Big old heavy land yacht.
Yeah. I want to drive one. I'll be honest. If somebody let me drive it, I'd drive it just to see what it's like.
You're not eligible.
Yes, I am. Anybody can race a Crown stock.
No, you're a sportsman champion.
Doesn't matter.
You can't do this.
It doesn't matter. I will drive anything with 4 wheels and a steering wheel with a roll cage, as long as it's safe.
Okay, well, I'll just get Ty Majeski to come in and run a Crown Vic.
That's fine. Nice. You know who I'm thinking about asking to drive my car when you're at the Derby? Big bad Bubba Pollard,
Bubba Pollard, yep.
I'm thinking about it. Hey, man, would you drive my car at Snowball Derby one year and just see if he does it? If he wins, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he could do it, I guarantee. He's just got that. He's better than me, that's for sure.
He's going to be there.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I'll have some time.
But there's a big stir up on Facebook right now, and I told everybody on there today that I would be talking about this. So I told them to check us out Friday when this episode comes out to listen. A lot of people are complaining about running group qualifying,
Right.
which we get one round of practice, and the second round of practice is our qualifying round. Everybody wants single car qualifying. Okay, yeah, that's cool. But here's the problem. Nobody wants to sit in the grandstands and watch. Yeah, they want to watch late models qualify. And it speeds up the show. I mean, you got to consider people have kids. They get in the grandstands. They don't want to be here till midnight or 1 a.m. And little kids falling asleep and cranky. They leave. And then they don't come back because, well, next week it's going to be the same thing. It's a way to speed the show up. There's nothing wrong with it, but they should limit the amount of cars on the racetrack. Okay? Yeah. 6 cars at a time. When the one guy drops off, you send the next car out. And you give them but everybody gets a chance to qualify. It's no big deal. I have done it, and I've had nights when, man, we've qualified really well with it. And I've had nights that I've had people jump up in front of me going down the back straightaway on a run and have to back off, and then it screws your rhythm up, and then you're qualifying 5th instead of 1st. So there's arguments for it and against it. And then the other big thing is everybody wants to run heat races, which I agree with heat races. I've won my share of them. It's pretty cool. But you either do one or the other. Either you get your qualifying or you get your heat races. We draw a pill and we start a heat race, and the heat race finished inside outside like we used to do. But if you're going to qualify, the fastest car should go to the rear. When I started racing out there, I know because I sat on the pole several nights back in my sportsman days in 97 because I was the slowest qualifier. I was just 2 seconds off. But I started on the front row, and you know what it makes you? A better race car driver.
Yes.
And it's boring for the people in the stands. I couldn't get Tim to understand when Steve Buttrick, who started going to the rear for himself instead of being forced back there, he'd like, go to the back. And he would win anyway.
Right.
But it teaches you how more discipline. And back in the day, also, if you finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, you started 10th, 11th, and 12th in the next feature.
That's it.
So it gave somebody else. I won a race because of that one year. I finished 4th and I started on the pole the next race and drove off and won, led flag to flag. It's a beneficiary to other people. It teaches you to be a better race car driver coming from the back. Now, these people gripe and moan. They want qualifying, but they don't want to go to the rear. No, I don't want to do that. Well, then why have qualifying? Why not just draw a pill?
Yeah.
You know, and then when we used to roll the dice, it was rows, not positions.
Yes, I remember that.
You know, you rolled a 1, you started where you're at. You rolled a 2, you started 2nd row, 3rd row, 4th row, 6th row. Mm-hmm. And it makes for better racing, makes better for the fans. And, but, you know, I don't understand why you would want to put the guy on the pole and let him run off and hide. I mean, even the late models do a drawdown to see if somebody starts somewhere different. Mm. You know, I mean, I just have a feeling that and what gets me also is the people that do the majority of the griping are people that don't run every single race. They're the first ones go, I'm through with this junk. I'm done. And then look up and there they are.
Well, last weekend they had an 8-car redraw.
Yeah.
Just mix things up a little bit. One thing I'd like to see brought back to give some other people an opportunity to at least taste victory is a consolation race. I'd like to see what that.
If you had enough cars.
Yeah.
So you can't do that unless you got enough cars. You got to have like a 25 car feature, and then whoever's left over didn't make the 25 cars. I remember Mobile had a pure stock class back in the late 90s, excuse me. There was 40 to 45 cars that showed up to try to make that race, and it was a 25 car feature. Then they ran a B main. Some nights they had to run a C main to see if anybody made the race. And the first 2 cars transferred. Everybody else sat in the pits.
I remember the very first time I went over to Shoot Mobile, the sportsman class, as it was called back then. They'd have 20 cars, and they would be in a pack for the first 5 laps, nose to tail, all the way around the track.
Well, that's back when their sportsmen back then ran 305s, and some of them 305s were faster than 350s. Because when I went over there, when they started running this together, I'd get smoked by a 305 because they were running strokers. I mean, 305s are more expensive to build than 350s. I found, as a matter of fact, Mike Gorham sent me a video of 2005, and I had that baby blue number 07, and Mike Moody come around me on the outside, and you can see how much wider that metric car is than it's supposed to be. It was so cheated up. He drove around me on the outside like I was tied to a pole.
Well, I watched him take his wheels off one time, and I saw a little bit of help he had there, but we won't talk about that.
Oh, well, they didn't do nothing. That's back when, you were a Mobile regular. You got all kinds of special privileges.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done to make racing more exciting. But these guys that run up front and win and whine and moan all the time are the ones that don't want. I don't want to go to the back. Why would we qualify exactly? You're just wanting to just get out front and drive away, and it's boring for the people in the grandstands. That's why the asphalt racing is so boring, because everybody just follow the leader. Well, put people to the back. Yeah. Let's make it exciting. I don't care if I have to go to the back. Yeah. I won one 2021 coming from the rear. Yeah. I've done it. Everybody's done it. Yeah. It makes you a better race car driver. When you have to pick your way through the field to get there, it makes you drive the car harder.
Yeah, amen to that. I'm totally behind all of that. ARCA 200, the Pensacola 200, ARCA Menards Series East coming this weekend, Friday night with the Pro Trucks, Pure Stocks, the Modified, the Mayhem, ARCA race on Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night.
Man, congratulations to Carter Langley,
yes,
Cole Butcher, Bubba Pollard.
Hell yeah.
For the sweep. I did forget to mention with Carter Langley at South Boston the year before in 2022, Lane Riggs, which we know a little bit about his dad, Scott Riggs, in the Cup Series. His son won back-to-back at South Boston last year. So that's back-to-back to back-to-back with those two in that series at the late model stocks up there at South Boston. That's pretty cool. Big weekend. Big weekend coming up. We got some friends coming over. We're gonna have a blast. And I'm running out of ways to say the little sign off thing. We've done every language that we know.
Yep.
And we've done it together. We've done it separate.
So I got it.
Somebody has an idea?
I do. You say let's, you say go, and I'll say
okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Let's go, Brandon.
Good night, everybody.
Stay strong, America.
Thanks for listening.